Hello, I'm Logic Bunny, and come with me down the rabbit hole of knowledge. Ever wondered how a single moment can reshape the world as we know it? What if I told you that the world we live in today, the very ground beneath our feet, is a direct result of choices made centuries ago? Think about it. Let's picture a split screen. On one side, a map of Europe before the First World War, a tapestry of empires and alliances. On the other, a map of Europe after the war, scarred by new borders, shattered empires, and the seeds of future conflicts. That, my friends, is the power of a turning point. We often think of history as a long list of dates and names, but it's so much more. It's a story, a drama filled with heroes, villains, and moments of incredible change. And within this story, there are specific moments, pivotal events that act as turning points. These aren't just battles. There are moments where the course of civilization veers dramatically. They are the echoes that reverberate through time, shaping our present and hinting at our future. In this video, we're not just going to talk about battles. We're going to dissect them. We're going to explore the causes, the consequences, and the human element that made these moments so significant. We'll journey through time, examining the clash of civilizations, the rise and fall of empires, and the decisions that changed everything. We'll be diving into some of history's most epic battles. Battles that weren't just about winning or losing. They were about defining the future. We'll look at how these battles weren't just isolated events, but links in a chain, each one influencing the next, shaping the world we inhabit. This isn't about memorizing dates. It's about understanding cause and effect. It's about seeing how the decisions of individuals, the strategies of generals, and the forces of society can converge to create moments of profound change. It's about understanding the human story, the triumphs, the tragedies, and the enduring power of the past to shape our future. So, buckle up, history enthusiasts. Let's explore this together. Have you ever heard the story of the marathon? The tale of a lone Greek soldier running from the battlefield to Athens, delivering the news of victory, and then collapsing from exhaustion. A story of ultimate sacrifice, right? Well, let's dive in. The story goes like this. In 490 BC, at the Battle of Marathon, the outnumbered Athenians and their allies faced the mighty Persian Empire. They won. A Greek soldier, Phidippides, ran the entire distance to Athens, announced the victory, and then, well, the legend says he died. A true act of heroism. But how much of this is actually true? The real turning point wasn't just the run. It was the battle itself. The Battle of Marathon was a critical moment. It halted the Persian Empire's westward expansion. If the Persians had won, the course of Western civilization might have been dramatically different. Think about it. Greece was the birthplace of democracy, philosophy, and art. Their defeat could have meant a very different world. Now, let's shatter the myth a little. The distance Phidippides supposedly ran was likely shorter than the modern marathon. And here's the kicker, the original source for this story. The historian Herodotus doesn't even mention the run and the soldier's death. The story evolved over centuries, embellished and romanticized. So, where does the marathon we know and love come from? The modern marathon race was inspired by the story of Phidippides and the Battle of Marathon. It became a symbol of endurance, perseverance, and the human spirit's ability to overcome challenges. But let's go deeper. What if the Persians had won? This is where things get really interesting. This is the butterfly effect in action. Imagine a world where Persia conquered Greece. Would we have the same language, the same philosophy, the same political systems? The answer is almost certainly no. Our world would be unrecognizable. That's the power of a single battle, a single moment to change everything. The Battle of Marathon, whether the story of the run is entirely true or not, was a turning point that shaped the world we live in today. The choices made that day by those soldiers on the battlefield still echo through the corridors of time. What if we tried this? Picture this. 216 BC, the Second Punic War. The Roman army, the most powerful force in the world, faces off against Hannibal, the Carthaginian general, a military genius. The stage is set at Cannae, a flat plain in Italy. Hannibal, against all odds, was outnumbered, but he had a plan. He chose the battlefield carefully, and he knew his enemy. The Roman army, confident in their numbers, was eager for a fight. Hannibal, however, was about to give them a masterclass in warfare. Hannibal's strategy was a masterpiece of deception. He deliberately weakened his center, creating a tempting target for the Romans. As the Romans advanced, Hannibal's troops slowly retreated. The Romans, eager for victory, pushed forward, further and further into the trap. Then, the Carthaginian flanks, the wings of Hannibal's army, closed in, encircling the Romans. The Roman army was completely surrounded. It was a double envelopment, a maneuver that would become a textbook example of military strategy. Cannae was a turning point because it was one of Rome's worst defeats, a bloody slaughter. Thousands of Roman soldiers were killed. Yet, incredibly, it didn't destroy Rome. The Romans, though devastated, showed incredible resilience. They learned from their mistakes, reformed their army, and eventually they came back stronger. This battle also teaches us a valuable lesson about Pyrrhic victories. Hannibal won a tactical victory at Cannae, but he ultimately lost the war. Sometimes you can win a battle but lose the war. This is an important lesson, not just in history, but in life. You can achieve small victories, but if you lose sight of your overall goals, those victories become meaningless. Cannae was a stress test. It revealed the strengths and weaknesses of Roman society. The defeat forced Rome to confront its vulnerabilities, leading to crucial reforms in their military, political, and social structures. This, in turn, laid the foundation for Rome's eventual dominance over the Mediterranean world. The Battle of Cannae, therefore, was a crucible, forging the Roman Empire in the fires of defeat and resilience. That's a great question. Imagine a world where knowledge was a closely guarded secret, accessible only to a select few. Before Johannes Gutenberg's invention, books were rare treasures, painstakingly copied by hand. Think of the beautiful, illuminated manuscripts, each one a work of art, but incredibly expensive and time-consuming to produce. Knowledge was power, and it was held tightly by the elite. Then came Gutenberg. Around 1440, he invented the printing press. It was a revolutionary innovation. Instead of copying each page by hand, Gutenberg's press used movable type. Individual letters were arranged to form words, then inked and pressed onto paper. This meant books could be produced quickly and relatively cheaply. The printing press was a turning point. It democratized knowledge. Suddenly, information became more accessible. The printing press fueled the intellectual fires of the Renaissance, spreading classical ideas and inspiring new discoveries. It was a key factor in the Reformation, allowing religious ideas to spread rapidly and challenge the authority of the church. And it was crucial to the scientific revolution, enabling scientists to share their findings and build upon each other's work. Gutenberg's invention sparked what we might call the first information revolution. It's fascinating to consider how similar it is to the digital world we inhabit today. The internet, social media, and smartphones have further accelerated the spread of information, allowing anyone with a device to access vast amounts of knowledge. There's a fascinating theory called the Gutenberg parenthesis. It suggests that the printing press created a period of linear, structured thought, a way of thinking characterized by logic, order, and the careful construction of arguments. This way of thinking, the theory goes, is now being challenged by the decentralized, fragmented nature of the internet, where information is constantly flowing and attention spans are shrinking. Is this a good or bad thing? The possibilities are endless. Imagine a world gripped by fear, where death was a constant companion. In the 14th century, Europe was ravaged by the Black Death, a pandemic that wiped out an estimated 30 to 60% of the population. The symptoms were horrific: fever, chills, and the telltale buboes, the swollen lymph nodes that gave the plague its name. The disease spread rapidly, carried by fleas on rats, decimating communities and leaving a trail of unimaginable suffering. The immediate impact was devastating. Towns and cities were emptied, the economy ground to a halt. Society was thrown into chaos. But what happened next is truly remarkable. The Black Death was a turning point because it fundamentally reshaped society. With so many people dead, there was a labor shortage. Surviving workers suddenly had more bargaining power. Wages increased. The feudal system, which had kept peasants tied to the land, began to crumble. There was a shift in the balance of power, a greater focus on individual worth. In a strange way, the Black Death acted as a great leveler. It reduced social inequality, albeit through the most tragic of means. The plague didn't discriminate. It affected rich and poor alike. This, in turn, led to greater opportunities for the lower classes who were able to demand better wages and conditions. This leads us to what I call the pandemic paradox. Devastating events, like the Black Death, can sometimes lead to unexpected positive changes in society. The trauma of the plague spurred advances in public health, sanitation, and medicine. It also led to the development of new social safety nets, as communities sought to protect themselves from future disasters. The Black Death, though a horrific tragedy, ultimately paved the way for a more just and equitable society. The possibilities are endless. Let's transport ourselves to the ancient world, to a time of empires, ambition, and epic clashes. We're going to explore the Battle of Actium, a naval conflict that would forever change the course of history. The main players, Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, and Octavian, the adopted son of Julius Caesar, and a rising star in Roman politics. They were locked in a power struggle, a clash of titans vying for control of the Roman world. The battle took place in 31 BC, off the coast of Actium in Greece. Octavian's forces met the combined fleet of Cleopatra and Mark Antony, her Roman lover. An ally, the sea was the stage, and the ships were the actors in this dramatic performance. The battle itself was a complex affair, with strategic maneuvers and shifting alliances. The turning point came when Cleopatra, seeing the tide turning against her, ordered her ships to retreat. Antony followed, and the battle quickly turned into a rout. The Battle of Actium was a turning point because it marked the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of the Roman Empire. Octavian, victorious, became the first Roman emperor, known as Augustus. It also signaled the end of Egypt's independence as the country was absorbed into the Roman Empire. This was a pivotal moment, a shift from one form of government to another. This is an example of the power vacuum principle. When one power collapses, it creates a void, a vacuum that is quickly filled by another. The death of Julius Caesar, the chaos of the civil wars, and the ambition of individuals like Octavian created the perfect conditions for the republic to fall and the empire to rise. And what about Cleopatra? Was she a victim of circumstance? A pawn in a larger game? Or was she a shrewd politician who miscalculated her moves? Her legacy is complex and debated to this day. She was a powerful ruler, a brilliant strategist, and a symbol of both romance and treachery. The Battle of Actium may have been her last stand, but her story continues to captivate us. It is a testament to how a single battle can not only change the course of the world, but also the way we perceive history. What if we tried this? So, we've journeyed through time, exploring some of history's most significant turning points. We've seen how a single battle, a technological innovation, or even a devastating plague can reshape the world. We've examined the Battle of Marathon, Hannibal's canny Gutenberg's printing press, the Black Death, and the Battle of Actium. Remember, history isn't just a collection of dates and names. It's a story, a complex web of cause and effect. It's about understanding the choices that people made, the forces that shape their lives, and the consequences that continue to affect us today. It's about seeing the human story, the triumphs, the failures, and the enduring power of the past. But our journey doesn't end here. The world is full of turning points waiting to be discovered. There are countless other moments in history just as crucial and fascinating as the ones we've explored. I encourage you to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep thinking critically about the narratives you encounter. Want to dive deeper? There are countless resources available. Explore, books, documentaries, and websites. Seek out different perspectives and challenge your own assumptions. Become your own history expert and keep learning. Now, I want to hear from you. What historical turning point do you find most fascinating? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's learn from each other. The possibilities are endless.